Hey everyone, Amy Galper here. Welcome. Today I am going live with one of my aromatherapy and action students to talk about the class. Why? Because this week, very exciting news, the aromatherapy and action course is open for enrollment. So it is very exciting for those of you who are eager to become certified aromatherapists. Today is your chance to enroll, and today I am bringing on one of my amazing students named Brenda, and I'm going to get her on right now. So let's see here if she is joining. There you are. Welcome, Brenda.
Hi, Amy.
Well, thank you so much for joining. So
Thank
I
you
was
so
just
much.
telling everyone who's online with us today that Aromatherapy in Action, my online course that helps you become a certified aromatherapist, is now open for enrollment. And I wanted to get those people that are curious about the program, give them a chance to ask us both questions, and then for you to share a little bit about your experience in the class. And for those of you who are watching, I just want to make sure everyone can hear us and all of that. I will be answering some questions, so if you have anything going on, just write a comment. So here is Brenda, and I'm just going to hand it over to her and let her introduce herself and share with us a little bit about her work. So you can learn about the amazing things that she's doing and how she plans to use her aromatherapy certification in her practice.
Okay, thank you so much for having me. It's very exciting.
Of course.
I'm a little nervous.
Don't be nervous.
I got my oils, got me covered right behind me.
Okay.
So I decided to take the certification. First of all, I've been using oils since 2017. And I was gifted a kit that I had wanted for a long time. And, I played with it, made my products, was very serious about, clean living. I have a young child, didn't realize at the time the things that were sort of lurking everywhere. So basically, in all of these years, I've been using them on my own recovery journey. I have CPTSD and I'm in recovery, and they've really helped me in so many ways. So obviously since 2017, now we've seen this explosion of essential oils. I mean, you can buy them at the gas station and the grocery store and everywhere. The problem I have with that is that the public doesn't really understand that quality oils, there's a lot of misinformation running around, and I felt that I would see things and be like, oh, I don't really think that's right. But I really wanted to have the certification because I want to know, your class is taught in a way that I can understand. Science is a little bit of a struggle to me, but some of the things that you've already taught me, they really have stuck with me very much so. Like the hair follicle, I didn't know that. I didn't know that the hair follicle, rubbing it into a hair follicle, helped it get into your system faster. I also don't think I realized how, I thought I'm going to have people over this diffuser. I make people products all the time and I say, oh, smell this and this is going to help you. But I don't think I realized how much the products can really help, besides the diffusing, which we know is technically the fastest way, but it's much bigger than that. So because of the misinformation, I just felt strongly that I wanted to have these certifications and to know from an expert who's been in the field for 25 years. And even when it comes to my own company, now we're not going to talk about brands. I am very loyal to my brand. There's a lot of people don't like MLMs, and I understand why. But I also have to respect that they do have a very pure product. I've smelled other things. I am branching out with some of the companies you've suggested, but and I believe that is literally where a lot of the misinformation comes from. It's become this cat fight of essential oils, and yes, it is very dangerous to go to the store and buy lemon oil from, the grocery and dump it in and drink it. But so it just got to this point where I felt helpless, because I'm not going to argue with people online. You know, I'm just doing my own little thing over here, sharing what I do. And I said, I really want this certification. Also, because of the recovery, I'm going to school to finish my KSAC, and soon I'll be a certified New York State recovery coach, because they've
Amazing.
helped me so much. You know, I've read some articles. You know, there's a lot of doctors that feel that the age of antidepressant was a 30-year period of kind of like were gerbils, and there was a lot of failures. I don't believe that you can meet someone for 15 minutes and say, here, go take this pill. It happened to me. And because it took so long to be diagnosed with trauma, I mean, the experiences I had were horrible. I'm not saying that people don't need medication, but what I know from my own experience is that they've a couple times almost literally made me feel like I was losing my mind, and the oils don't do that. They have changed me in so many ways. I mean, people are like, you're a completely different person. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of hard work and therapy too. I'm not, you know, I'm not saying I haven't, you know, done that, but the oils, they still amaze me. You know, my son can come home from school like the girl in The Exorcist, and now I know to really rub it in. I learned that from you, to really rub it in those follicles, not just drop on the top of his head. You taught me to, you know, to rub that. Within 2 minutes, he's like a different kid, you know, and it's a beautiful thing, you know. So that is, you know, my reasons, you know, and I hope to give it to the masses at some point. You know, I see a place for this in recovery with with addiction treatment, because I've yet to meet an addict that doesn't have some sort of trauma, you know. So
Right.
that's
Associated.
my
Yeah, and
passion.
there's
I
so
haven't figured out how to pull it together yet, so I said, let me get these proper certifications, so that when it comes time to possibly reach out and have someone help me with that, I have this part done.
absolutely. Well, I love your story and I love the reasons why you're coming in, because I agree with you. As you know, I've been doing this for a really long time, and the world is exploding over essential oils. It has never been such a huge topic before. You're finding it in all the mainstream media. And what you're also finding with it being available, like you said, at all these big top stores, like, and even at local gas stations or whatever you might go, like everybody is talking about it, everybody is using it. But the problem is too, as you said so beautifully, is that there also now is a lot of miseducation about them. And I think one thing that people, um, I think have a disconnect about is that, you know, using essential oils is really a plant medicine practice. So there has to be qualified training and understanding how these oils like physiologically work on the body, and what chemistry is and what the best ways to use them, and understanding dosage and dilution. You know, this is really important in order to use them safely and, as you said, effectively, because ideally, if you're using the essential oils, you want to be able to use them so they actually make those shifts and changes for yourself. So, you know, I've been saying for the last year is this surge in the world of awareness of essential oils. And also simultaneously, there's, with this misinformation, there's a lot of kind of maligning in a way of essential oils in the mainstream media. Like, it'll wreak havoc on your skin. It's like so dangerous. It's this and that and that and that. And really the danger is that people aren't using them properly. So that just tells me even more like strongly that we just need to have more and more people using them correctly. So that's why I'm on this mission to really train as many people as I can so they can be like you, Brenda, and go out into your specific area of interest or your community or your network and just be the informed person, be the person that they can recognize as the trusted resource, and be able to trace that information back to someone who is also trusted, and I can then trace my education back to trusted resources. It's really important. So I love having you in the class, and I love actually the work that you're eager to do within addiction recovery and trauma. I think this is another really very powerful, I guess you would call it, niche within the healing community and wellness, where more and more people are becoming more aware of this as a potential cause for, I guess, what you would call dis-ease or imbalance in the body. And that if we can kind of help people get to a place by using essential oils, smelling them, sitting with them, connecting with them, paying attention to how they make them feel, that we can really help a lot of people really drill down into the cause of what is going on. And I think that that is, something that is really important, you know? So tell me a little bit about what you were doing. You were saying you were making products and stuff for people. So how has being a part of aromatherapy in action, I know part of what I try to help people with in the course is I'm a big believer in really teaching you how to be a formulator and not just a recipe follower. I really want to give all of my students that skill that
I'm
they
really
don't
grateful
have to rely on a book
for that.
really,
That's where I'm at now. I'm at the end
okay.
of the level 1, and I'm not making any synergies because, see, I didn't even know it was a synergy until your class, because I want to watch your videos first, because I wasn't necessarily a recipe follower. I would look on Pinterest and be like, okay, this is back in 2017 when I started. There wasn't like really a lot of like it is now,
Right.
But I'm also not a PubMed. I read those and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is like hurting my brain, So I'm gaining valuable information in your class. But what I would do is I would look up the oils individually and be like, oh, they help with this, 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 and this. But again, flying blind, you know what I mean? Was aware that, and I've made some stinky concoctions, for my family, because like you tell us, like people don't want to use it if it doesn't smell good.
Right,
and it's very true. It is true. So I just started small with my family, and back then, and I made this balm that I called at the time like a cure all, because it kind of did like fix anything, and I really fell in love with it. And then the shampoo, and I started making the dish detergent and the laundry detergent, and just sticking with the roller balls. I make all my own skincare and hair care, and I give it to the teachers and friends, or if somebody comes to me and says, oh, I've got a I'll do my best to make them something. So what your class is giving me is not only the certification, it's giving me the tools to learn it in a less stringent but very positive and easy to follow way. I've been a little slow because I started the KSAC school last week as well online, so I'm taking my time with it. But the videos are, like I said, yesterday I just did the oil, which part of me, I know basically your class is giving me the ability to add intense amounts to my own knowledge in a more professional way, where I wasn't thinking about certain things before. I write a recipe down and I have a whole book of them, but I wasn't writing like I use 12 drops of this, or, like things like that are clearly important. You know what I mean? You can't just be winging it, which is what I've been doing all of this time. And I do take it seriously. I've stuck with it this whole time, and I really just felt, because like you always tell us, it's not a regulated, we have NAHA, there's the 2, and then the International Aromatherapy Association, where we can submit our case studies, and that is amazing. But again, because of the information, I just felt it was really crucial to learn from someone who clearly had so much experience. And I knew you've helped clean beauty companies, and because this is something that I'm passionate about, I'm like, who better to take this class from? It just sort of worked out, and it does also, again, for me, I think that is also a lot of where the not so happiness comes for MLM, because it is there does need to be something. You
Yeah,
know
there
what I
needs to be
mean?
more education. I think that there's
Yeah,
tension between
yeah,
what's called the wellness advocates and those people who are truly educated. And I
right,
think that the people who are really new to essential oils don't quite realize that the wellness advocate doesn't really have real training in the oils.
right.
So they're only communicating like what they get from the sales information,
Yeah.
and not
And the
really
infographics, and I have to find it all
exactly.
myself. I was not like really lucky enough to have a team. I'm like one of those people who like signed me up and they were just like, bye bye.
Right.
you
Oh, okay.
know? So, that is, I don't, it is what it is. I love the oils, and I see a much bigger purpose, especially when it
Yeah,
comes to the emotional support stuff. So that is why I stick
100%.
through it. But that is definitely why I feel real, it's just the craze of the last few years. As you know, as we've spoken about several times already, like it's beautiful to see, but where it has gone is also scary because
Yeah.
people really do not understand that it does cost money to produce quality oils,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not the same if as buying it at some of these big box stores. It's not the same, and it can wreak havoc on your skin. They
Mm-hmm.
don't realize that things are, diluted. They just and you can tell them, but like I said, I don't fight with people on the internet. I just do what I do. And if
Right.
someone happens to answer me a question, ask me a question, I'm happy to answer it. I don't really get a lot of questions, but I just don't go in that hard. It's one of the things
Right.
I learned actually from your class. I couldn't understand why it was so hard for me to branch out to other companies because I'm on a super limited income. The fact that I'm
Mm-hmm.
even still buying these oils and like, because we have needs, right? We're with
Right.
the
Right.
oils at this point. We've been using them so long. There's things we need to have in the
Right.
house. But what you taught me, like you had said something about using companies more pure if you're very like natural, because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know that about the CO2 is another thing that you really taught me that
Mm-hmm.
resonated with me. Can we talk about it? Because I know you
Yeah,
want to
of
know my
course.
aha
So,
moment. I don't want it to
yeah.
seem like I'm like like throwing any company that does CO2 extraction under the bus, because I'm not. But I
Right.
was like, that is why. For me, I was like, oh, it makes sense. So I didn't know that with the CO2 extraction that the solvents technically can't be 100% removed. And you had made a note to say, if you are a more natural person, like if
Mm-hmm.
nature, earth, and I am an earthy
Mm-hmm.
person, not just about my oils, about everything, um, that might not be best for you. And I kind of
Mm-hmm.
felt better, because I was like, really like, oh, maybe I should be cheaper, and but my intuition wouldn't let me because I love what I'm already using. And I really just, even that, like, you've thrown so much information at us in the I'm still on the level 1 side, but in a way that it really sticks, like the hair
Oh,
follicle
I'm so
thing, like
glad.
the solvent, like so many of the things, and it's very easy to follow along.
That's amazing. So I just want to clarify one thing for anyone who's listening is there are several ways to extract the aromatic material from an aromatic plant. All essential oils generally are steam distilled, which just uses water to lift out those volatile molecules and transform them into an essential oil. And then there are other two methods that are primarily used, and you will find them listed as aromatics. Sometimes they'll even mistakenly list them as essential oils on different websites. But the extraction method can either be a CO2 extraction or an absolute. And it is the absolute which uses a material called a solvent to lift out and pull out the aromatic molecules. Traditionally, that solvent was a petrochemical like hexane. And that is what Brenda's referring to when she said in the class, I say, I use absolutes sometimes, but you have to understand that the residue that's left is really in the part per millions. But if you are someone who is very energetically sensitive or energetically inclined and really want to just be as pure and only working with 100% kind of plant material, leaning into an absolute may not be what you want to do. Now, unfortunately, a lot of plants can't be steam distilled just because they're so delicate, like things like lotus or
Vanilla,
even
right?
vanilla, or
Mm-hmm.
certain things are just too hard to steam distill. So they can use two processes. They can use this absolute process, which uses hexane, but I just want to say there are now companies that are using a more green science and using organic ethanol alcohol to pull it out. And then the other way is a CO2 extraction, which doesn't use any petrochemicals. It only uses liquid CO2. So they take the gas and they use pressure to liquefy it, and that is used to pull out the aromatic molecules. So a CO2 is actually a really well-rounded and usually, totally 100% pure, but it
Thank
has a
you.
very different aroma than an essential oil, and it has other constituents in it. So I think what you were referring to is more of the
Yes,
absolute.
I apologize.
No, it's okay. I just want
It's
to
a lot of
clarify for
information.
anyone who's listening. I always like to make it a teachable moment to
No,
let them
that's
know,
good. That's
like,
good.
you know,
That would be me saying misinformation. This is
but I
why
just don't want
I'm
anyone
taking
who's
your
listening to
course.
think that a CO2 uses a petrochemical, because it doesn't. So just wanted to be clear on that.
Thank
So,
you.
but yeah, but simple things like this, I think, armors us to be better educated, to be able to use things which resonate with our own values, like what you were saying so beautifully, like you are a total plant person and you don't want to use any extracts that have any kind of residues. So that's really important. And that's what I also tell all of my students, right? That I think that, as far as the brand thing, like I really feel that it's important as I train any aromatherapist that this is really about your unique relationship with the oils. You are bringing yourself into it, your own experiences, your own connection. And because of that, I try to encourage everyone to just suspend while you're in the class, suspend your relationship with the brand just for the time that you're in a class, and just focus instead on your relationship with the oil. And it doesn't matter what brand you use. Ultimately, it's really about that relationship and really connecting with the scent, with the different chemical constituents, and understanding it, understanding how to blend with it, understanding how to dilute it and apply it. That's really what it's all about.
And that's a
So,
great part of class as well, Amy, is you gave us some companies, which, I didn't never heard of those companies,
mm-hmm,
which I find a little sad in a way. You know what I mean? Like, what is the deal? It's always now there's three I hear about more,
mm-hmm,
but I'm going to be placing an order with one of the
mm-hmm,
companies on the list, and I had no idea. So, and I don't have a problem branching out at all.
mm-hmm,
I was confused with my CO2
mm-hmm.
extraction method.
No, it's fine. And I think what's important about branching out, because this is another really important concept in the class, is that really I want everyone to really deepen their sense of smell and refine it. An
Yes.
aromatherapist must have an extraordinary sense of smell. And the only way that you are going to do that is by practicing and by smelling different oils from different companies. So you can understand, ooh, this lavender I got from here, it's a French high altitude. This lavender I got from this company, it's from the Kashmiri Mountains in India. This lavender is from Oregon in the United States. Like, what are the scent profiles? How are they different? How can I distinguish them by using language to describe? And it's super important for an aromatherapist to really refine their sense of smell in that way. So I always encourage, you don't have to go crazy and buy like 10 ml bottles, 4 ml, all this. You could just buy a little sample from all
I
of these
know. I
companies.
didn't realize that, I think it called Eden's Botanicals, that
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I was like, this is amazing. I can
It's
buy 1 or 2
amazing.
milliliters, if I want to make something
Exactly.
special. But then also, they give samples as well once
Exactly.
you place an order. So, and
Yeah,
they
it's
have some things
amazing.
that,
So
that
you get
I've
this.
never even would ever be able to purchase from, it's
Right.
going to broaden my horizons. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah,
And,
no.
and it's been helpful, because it does get expensive and I should be broadening them,
Yeah. No, and it's a great way to be able to really refine your
and
sense of smell.
especially when you like to make your own products. Like
Yes,
if you want to make
100%.
your own products, you can't really, I mean, I guess you could stick with one company, but it would be a little difficult if you want to really make interesting, synergies that do different
Hmm.
things. Because, like, as you have told us, and that's something that in all of the years and all of the literature I've read, I never was told that a synergy, the blend of putting them together
Hmm.
makes, makes them work better together. Really,
Hmm.
I
Of course.
I say that about my family all the time, but I had no idea that my oils also, that was important, like
Yeah.
scientifically.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's been a
100%.
real wealth of knowledge, and I'm so
Awesome.
grateful for it. I'm glad I finally
Oh.
just did it. It just was in the right spot. I was like, oh,
Mhm.
we can afford this right now, and you know what? I'm gonna just do it all at the
Good.
same time, apparently. But
Good. Well, I'm so glad you're part of the class. And for anyone watching who has any questions, please throw them in the comments. And if not, please, if you're watching, go ahead and you can DM me directly at Amy Galper. Please go follow. Go follow Brenda at Essential Earth Treasure, everybody who's watching. She's an amazing, and she's going to be graduating soon and creating all sorts of beautiful things, and she will have all the confidence and the skills behind her. So please go follow Essential Earth Treasure with Brenda. And if you have any questions for me, don't be shy, throw them in the DM. And just want to remind you that you can, if you're interested in the course Aromatherapy in Action, there is the link in the bio. And thank you so much for joining, Brenda. It
of
was a
course,
pleasure
thank you
having
for
you.
having me. I really appreciate it. Everybody have a
Oh, of
blessed
course.
day.
Yes,
Stay oily.
yes. Stay oily. Love it. Bye, everyone.
Take care. Be well.